tough is it to say goodbye like you just did with some of these guys after you've been bonding for so many months together?
Yeah, it's very tough, especially, just the journeys that we've had over the past 2 years. Playoffs last year and tough loss, and this year not making the playoffs. It's frustrating to say goodbye, quite honestly, because I think we all want to be playing for a lot longer than we were this year.
How big of a hole is there when you don't make the playoffs, when you believe in the team all year, you believe it's going to happen, and then it just doesn't?
I don't know if I would use hole to describe it. It's just you kind of feel like we let each other down, in a way. And, I think we worked very hard, throughout the year, and we battled, quite a bit. We tried to make each other better, each and every practice. And, sometimes you fall short, and the biggest thing is, looking yourself in the mirror, after that and measuring up and realizing, what you have to do next year, to make sure that it doesn't happen again. I think we had a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouth from last year, making it so far, and then, losing in the conference finals, and then this year not making playoffs. It's definitely don't see it as a failure, but we didn't live up to the expectations that we had and the standard that we held for ourselves. So it's disappointing.
What would you like to see change maybe from the year before when you did make the playoffs to possibly next year?
Yeah, I think we had a different dynamic. I think we had a lot of veteran leadership, last year. Not to say that we didn't have that this year. It's just different. Each year the complexion of your team is changing. So I don't know if there's really anything that I could say in this moment that we need to improve upon. Maybe need to sit down, resonate, let it sink in for a little bit before I answer that question.
On the other hand, how good was this year for you and your growth? And I'm sorry if you hit that up already, but you didn't make the playoffs, but you really got a lot accomplished this year.
Right. Yeah. I think every year, every season is experience. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's going to help you grow, and I think I gained a lot of that this year. Being here and then being up in the National League, face a lot of shots. So a lot of situations that you're put into that I felt that if I had success or I didn't, I was able to take something from that and add it to my game. So personally, obviously very excited for the years to come, and happy with the way I performed to an extent. I think there's still room for improvement and growth, but all in all, I think if we're just talking personally, it's great, but and then also personally, I take a lot of pride in team success as well. So while there might be a lot of good that comes out of it on my end, there's still a lot of things that I think we can work on as a unit. Especially I kind of look to myself as the one who bears a brunt of the responsibility for wins and losses, and I know that's not always the healthiest way to look at it, but that's just my personality, and that's how much I want to win. So sometimes it's hard to disassociate yourself with that, but
it's tough for you to score goals.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
How do you balance that kind of playing as a unit, like a team, like you're saying, and then your growth of getting more time in the NHL?
Well, firstly, I think the reps, going through, maybe a little bit of a frustrating, ups and downs like this, you learn that your identity, as much as you want to win, it's not, in the team and the mistakes and the good and the bad. My perspective is I want to be somewhat stoic, and that's how I balance it, and I think we could do a little bit better job of that, riding the highs and lows as a unit. Just being smart out there. I mean, there's so many nuances that go into that question. Yeah.
Looks like there's could be some questions up in Chicago with the goalie situation. Is that something you're looking at going into the offseason as far as your training and preparing for camp?
Well, I think for me, going into the off season, I'm just looking to grow and progress. That's really been my MO since day one. Is how can I become a better goaltender? In the time given. I'm not looking to be, the best goaltender there ever was. I just want to fulfill my potential, as a human being and as an athlete. So any way that I can do that in the summer to prepare myself for the next level, I'm going to look to do that. And whether that's, mental training, physical training, or, just kind of relaxing for a bit. you know, I kind of take a little break from hockey, you know, maybe a month or so, and just kind of start fresh again, you know, work on some foundational elements of my game, you know, moving forward that I think are going to help me at the next level, because you don't really get that opportunity to, you know, have a big of a learning curve, you know, so I want to make sure that I lessen that when I go up there and that I can contribute right away. So there's a lot of detailed, concentrated work that's going to be going into, you know, the little aspects of my game moving forward to make sure that I can compete at that level.
How much does the organization talk to you about it, or does that kind of come towards the end of the summer a little more?
Yeah, I honestly haven't heard too much, you know, as the exit meetings get underway here, you know, we'll probably have more discourse in regards to, you know, maybe some soft and hard skills that they want you to work on. But yeah, nothing has been said yet. So just my own accord, you know, what I think needs to be done so far.
Where do you feel like your game grew, took the next step this year from last year, getting that NHL debut to now getting ample amount of time in both leagues, and ultimately how do you use that to grow going into next year?
Well, if I could just say one thing specifically, it's just puck handling, you know, decisions with the puck, trying to, you know, make my defenseman's life a lot easier. You know, that was something that didn't really work on a whole much last year and the beginning of this year, and then go up to Chicago, and then, you know, it's not as great. You know, I didn't perform as great puck handling up there as I had wanted to, so it was definitely something we gave some emphasis to down the road here, and I think I've taken a step with that. But all in all, just becoming more of a, you know, a complete goalie, you know, making sure there's no holes in my game, you know, and just having like that edge, you know, from the moment the puck drops to the final buzzer. You know, you really don't get many chances to take a minute off in the game, so just making sure that my game is sound through and through. I gotta give credit to Peter once again, you know, for always being very disciplined and detailed in the work that we do on and off the ice, and you know, I owe a lot of where I am right now to him.
Do you feel like you're ready to be the Blackhawks' #1 goalie?
I don't know if I can answer that yet. I think I have the potential to be. You know, I think there's a lot of things that need to come together in my game for that to happen. And, you know, obviously you don't really think of it like that in the summer. Perhaps maybe that's your long-term goal. But like I said before, my eye is just on progression. You know, what can I do here and now in the next couple months to get myself ready to, you know, to win games at that level. I'm not really, you know, worried about being the #1. You know, I think if that's my fate, you know, down the road somewhere, that'll happen. But I just want to put the team in a good position to win night in and night out. So that's where my efforts are going to be concentrated.